All right. Can everyone hear me now? And am I cloud? I said cloud. Sorry, I've been reading some things. Am I loud and clear? It's loud. Equal to cloud.
Yes, you are.
All right, great. So welcome guys to the first week of the technical writing class for Product Africa Bootcamp. So this is the technical writing class, as you all know, and we are going to be focusing on people that are just starting to learn technical writing, and we'll explore what technical writing is, how you can get started, how you can implement this knowledge in your day-to-day activities or jobs, even as a non-technical person. So we all need to document things, right? So who am I? My name is Adam Sadibayo. So I'm a software developer and a freelance technical writer at some companies. So a few of them are here. I write for Honey Badger, Content Lab, and Convoy. So I write documentation, how-to guides, tutorials, articles, you name it, anything that is written and software content, I write. So I write for other companies too, including Free Code Camp, right? So a little bit more about me. I'm a computer science dropout, right? So I dropped out of Kwara State Polytechnic when I figured out this program is not for me. So yeah, and I worked with few travel companies as immigration consultants, focusing on visas, right? Yeah. So when I'm not building products or explaining technical concepts with writing, I read about stoicism and how to build the future. So I'm currently reading Stoic Challenge by William Irving. Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter at Olodokoda. So some of you might have seen this account, so that's me. And my LinkedIn, Adam Sadibayo. So basically everywhere else is Olodokoda, Olodokoda. So in case you are wondering, the reason for the name Olodokoda was that when I started learning tech, so I did HTML, CSS, and I got to JavaScript and I could not just understand, like wrap my head around the whole thing. So I think the main problem I had was that JavaScript does not have like its own documentation. So you are left with videos, articles, tutorials, and all of that. So yeah, I was so frustrated and I was just starting to be like active on Twitter, like tech Twitter and all. So I just one day I just woke up like, um, I'm an Olodo, I don't know anything. So I just changed my name to Olodo and it's been very hard to change, but I think I'll change it soon or not. So yeah, that's the backstory behind that. So I was frustrated. I had to go back to HTML and CSS because I was just so scared that what all these concepts, if else, functions, and all of that. So, but eventually, I got, I was able to wrap my head around the whole thing. So yeah, that's the reason. So you can find me everywhere at Olodokoda everywhere. But LinkedIn is Adam Sadibayo. Right. So let's get into it. What is technical writing? So this is like the best definition I got, right? When I was searching for like what is technical writing, what do people even call it? Because it's just different for everyone. So some of the this is like the best that I've seen. So technical writing is the writing discipline that involves communicating complex information to those who need it to carry out a specific task or achieve a certain goal. Because of this, technical writing is often described as simplifying the complex. Can you guys hear me properly? Just checking.
Yes, we can.
All right, great, thanks. So the images right there is to depict that technical writing is just a writing discipline, right? You explain complex information that is not common knowledge for other people in your field or outside your field. So the first picture is an engineer documenting the um reason behind his decisions, drawing things and writing why he's doing those things. So a scientist also does technical writing to explain everything they've discovered, they found out, like reaction to things and everything. Then we have our guy, coder. So which will be focusing on technical writing for software developers. So it's very, very common. Documentation, almost everything you see, tutorials, articles, are to explain things that are not common knowledge for everyone. So technical writing is simplifying the complex things that are not common knowledge for other people to be able to carry out a specific task or achieve a certain goal, which is why you've seen how to build so and so with Node.js, how to connect your DNS server to this, working with hosting and everything. So that's technical writing. So who is a technical writer? A technical writer takes complex information and turns it into easily understandable content for the end user. So this could be FAQs, frequently asked questions, knowledge bases, user manuals, product documentation, product description, and specifications, tutorials, articles. So as a technical writer, you write these things for other people that might want to learn, for other engineers, noobs, beginners, advanced engineers, and basically everyone. That's why it has to be easily understandable, right? So more definitions I found online. So Matt Werner at Google, is a technical writer at Google, defines technical writing as more like deleting. So you just have to get rid of the information that's getting in the way and help people accomplish what they want. So technical writing is more like deleting. So expanding on that, it means there are a lot of things you don't need to know if you want to accomplish a certain thing. So a technical writer has to like delete every other thing you don't need and just give you the things you need. So that's the reason behind the more like delete. So yeah, we have from Peggy. So a technical writer is someone who takes technical information and converts it into easy to understand help content. So the whole thing behind technical writing is just to help others accomplish things. You are helping people. So easy to understand help content. So that's from Peggy, also a technical writer at Google. So another definition, the last one here is technical writer is about helping people accomplish something without any roadblocks or barriers. So similar to the deleting one, you just help people remove the roadblocks and barriers to do what they want to do, like teaching them the step-by-step process of doing whatever you're teaching them. So those are the other definitions. There are a lot, there are a lot. So yeah. So this is one of the things that a technical writer does. So Vue.js, some of you might be familiar with Vue.js. It's a JavaScript framework for building user interfaces. So a technical writer on the Vue.js team will be responsible for explaining all Vue.js functionalities in clear and understandable language on the documentation website. So this will enable JavaScript developer of all levels to get started with the framework easily. If you are familiar with tech or software engineering, you might have come across Vue.js. So working on the Vue.js team as a technical writer means you have to learn almost, if not all, almost everything regarding Vue.js so you can simplify it in clear and understandable language for users that are coming to the website to learn about Vue.js. So yeah. So a technical writer at Google working on the Android team will be responsible for explaining everything about Android and the tools related to it in clear language so that developers and smartphone companies can build fantastic interfaces and functionalities in their app with no issues. I didn't complete this, but sorry about that. So As you can see in the screenshots here, it shows you basically everything you need to know about Android and how you can build with it. So Android is a product of Google. So you can learn anything about Android from this documentation. So that's part of what a technical writer does. So there are tons of technical writers that work on these products, explaining their own parts of the. Some are focused more on the engineering part. Some are focused on the tools, which are like Android Studio, Play Console for like coding online and all of that. So that's that. So Flutterwave, some of you might know Flutterwave, a payments company in Nigeria. So one of the unicorns we have in Africa also. So a technical writer at Flutterwave will be responsible for maintaining and creating content on their Flutterwave developer documentation website. So this includes easy to understand guides on how to get up and running the Flutterwave products, how to guides, tutorials, SDKs and plugins documentation, product description, API references, and others. So we do have this, for example, everywhere. So a technical writer for that will be responsible for like, for example, they have SDKs for JavaScript, Node.js, Rust, C++, Java, and all of that. So a technical writer on the team might be focused on okay, documenting those SDKs and their plugins. Some of them are responsible for helping people understand the whole financial brouhaha behind the products, like what you need to be able to hold money for people, what you need to be able to be able to save people's money on your app and all of that, like the licenses, the requirements and all of that. So that's also part of the documentations. So the developers can include that when explaining it to like their team. Okay, we want to implement Flutterwave. These are the things we need from the CEO. Give us this document, and like just to be sure that we are eligible to like you do this thing, because there are licenses for almost everything in fintech. So that's also like a job of a technical writer to explain everything you need to just use Flutterwave so you don't get in trouble or get your company in trouble. So checking in again, can you guys hear me, please?
Yeah, we are with you.
All right, thanks. So YouTube also,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, thanks. So YouTube, from this screenshot here, there are a lot of things a technical writer at YouTube does. Documenting the iframe player, Android player API reference, and how to like use YouTube in mobile mobile phones, in your apps, and almost every other thing on your website and all. So a technical writer working on the YouTube team at Google will be responsible for explaining everything from how developers can build YouTube powered mobile media players in their apps to how YouTube stores and use user data on their websites. So this includes explaining the whole ads and everything for creators too. So a technical writer at YouTube learns about everything that YouTube is doing in-house and explain the ones that their users, the creators, and everyone is to know in simple and easy to understand language on the documentation website. So, for example, if you're also a creator and you want to learn about YouTube monetization, you can just come to the documentation and learn everything you need to know, how many hours of content watch you need to like be able to monetize and do a lot of things. So everything is the job of the character. So moving on, yeah. So benefits of technical writing. Benefit of technical writing include clarity. So clarity in the sense that technical writing ensures that complex software concepts, no matter what that is, that you are using or the tool you are trying to explain is using, are presented in clearly and concise materials, written videos, or any other way you want to convey the information to. other people, which reduces misunderstandings and misinterpretations among team members and your users. So that's that for clarity. It helps you clarify every single thing for your users so they understand what they are doing when using your tool or when using your article. So for example, if you are writing on Flutterwave's payment API, you have to like explain everything in clear terms. And once you do that, it will give your company or yourself the benefit that okay, anyone that comes here can understand what this is doing and what we are trying to achieve by providing them this product. So yeah, that's it for clarity. So documentation, documentation can mean a lot of things. And documentation can mean like the material that you provide to people to be able to understand your product or your article or anything you're working on. So it provides, technical writing provides comprehensive documentation for software projects. You need documentation for literally every step in the product development process, designing, coding, building, every part. So documenting the project will provide the benefit that anyone that comes into the company and needs to understand anything, you can just give them the documentation. Okay, documented these things. You can go on this URL or this link to read about what you're trying to do, so you can understand better. So documenting the APIs, the design decisions, the coding decisions, the styles, down to the if you are familiar to coding, down to the preference of styling. So there are code formatters, code linting tools, and everything that people might need to know. So once you document that, you can just give the link to anyone so they read and understand and get to work easily. So this takes us to the next benefit, knowledge transfer. So once you document the processes, design decisions, and everything, you can easily transfer that knowledge to any and everyone that is to. So just give them the link, new team members, shareholders, like maybe the shareholders are saying, okay, we don't understand these things. Why do we need to do this? Just give them a link to that part of the documentation that okay, take this, read about it, so you understand why we are trying to do this. So leading software teams and like almost everything you do in a team depends on how easy it is to transfer knowledge. So maybe you're an experienced developer and you need to like teach a new member of the team something. So this technical writing makes this easy. You can just like give them, okay, so you can do this, do that. But if you want to really understand how to do them, go on the documentation website. This so and so part goes deeper into the things you need to know to accomplish this or get better at whatever you're trying to do. So you transfer knowledge easily with technical writing. So explain concept things, document them, then give it to anyone and everyone that needs to like know those things. So knowledge transfer is one of the key benefits of technical writing. So quality assurance, well documented requirements, coding decisions, design decisions makes it easy to for confidence in the team. Like, okay, your CEO can know that, okay, we have a solid documentation. They've documented everything. So rest assured that this new person can get up and running easily without like deleting our code base or deleting the production server when they deploy or anything. So quality assurance is also part of the technical benefit of technical writing. So they are sure that okay, you can trust this person to understand the documentation and just get to work easily without breaking our database or anything on the job. So yeah. So the next one is compliance. So compliance from earlier talking about Flutterwave. So, like I said, there are licenses and everything, other requirements that you need to be able to do certain things, especially in the fintech industry. Holding people's money, saving their money on your app and everything requires a lot of regulation and licenses, as I mentioned earlier. So technical writers can ensure that software documentation and the products comply with industry standards, regulation, and best practices. So in your documentation, you can document the whole licenses and everything for everyone. So you help people that use your products, for example, Flutter will, to be sure that okay, we are complying with the CBN regulations and everything, so we don't get in trouble. So you help people comply with requirements and regulators, licensing and everything, technical writing. So the next one is user adoption. So user adoption simply means, okay, for example, the Vue.js example earlier, more people are going to use Vue.js if it has like clear user documentation, tutorials, and guides than if it does not. So that is the reason why Flutter will also have documentation, because if I am a developer and I'm coming to your website to know about what you do or use your product or anything, I need to know what I'm doing, and documenting your product helps you do that. So once you have documentation, people can go to the documentation and understand how to use your product. But if you don't have, you get a lot of customer calls, and that is even if you are the only one offering that product. If they can get the product elsewhere and you don't have documentation, they just go elsewhere because they don't know what they have to do. They don't know how to make sure they are not getting in trouble. They don't know how to like get up and running with your product easily. So technical writing helps user adoption a lot because more people are comfortable like, okay, these people explain everything a lot and I now understand what I'm doing when using their tools. So yeah, user adoption skyrockets when you have proper documentation of your tools, your products, and basically anything you're trying to do. So efficiency, this goes back to the documentation and knowledge transfer point. So technical writing helps people get to work easily and efficiently without wasting time because coding conventions, best practices, the code base architecture and everything has been explained in the documentation. So people get up and running easily and they can just start working immediately, and that improves efficiency. Yeah. Okay, I don't have to waste any time on getting attention of senior engineers to get up and running. I can just go to the documentation and start coding. So technical writing helps efficiency. People are more efficient when they know what they need to do and how to do it without going around and asking questions. Okay, my slides. Okay. Yeah. Collaboration. Technical writing helps with collaboration in the sense that when companies get to build new products, right? And building new product brings like different parts of the company together, designers, engineers, stakeholders, CEOs, and everyone. And when you've documented everything that everyone needs to know in the documentation, you can easily collaborate without wasting time. Like, okay, so you are from the design team, you need to understand so and so parts to be able to like understand how to design this thing better. So go to the documentation and you can get up and running easily to understand that part of your job. So it helps the designer just go to the documentation and just understand what they need to do by reading through and getting more knowledge, or even engineers, software engineers from other teams, they can just go to the documentation and read about what your team is building and how it can help in the new products you guys are building. So it helps collaboration in the sense that teams can come together, use the documentation, and everyone just gets up and running easily. Product managers, testers, designers, developers can work together using the documentation because it's there for everyone to just use and learn about everything they need to know so they can collaborate, contribute, and just get up and running easily, making them more efficient and productive. So that's a very key benefit of technical writing. Another one is problem solving. So it goes back to the documentation again. You can solve problems faster, easier, and more efficiently when everything is documented. You can just go to the documentation and use it. So writing documentation helps problem solving a lot because concepts, processes, and everything that are documented helps new members of the team to get up and running easily and solve their problems. Okay, I need to implement this. How do I do it? Go to the documentation, read, implement, test, and repeat. So easily you can just use the documentation to solve your problems very easily. The next one is version controlling. So you probably know that a lot of engineering has to do with versions. Okay, introduce new features, this new version. So how are other features going to work? You can go to the documentation again to understand how those features works, how you can make sure they don't break the new versions and everything. So documenting the products, processes, and everything also helps. So you can track changes, improvements, debugging, release, and every other thing that involves new versions of the product using version history and release notes. So knowledge preservation. So yes, even though some um, coding conventions, processes, and the way people solve problems are now old. For example, XML, HTTP requests are no longer very common in the JavaScript ecosystem because we have new things like Fetch, GraphQL, and all those other things. But it's not very easy for companies to get up and running, especially big companies that you can't just break your product because something new is out and it's more efficient. You need to use it, but you can't break your code base just to implement that so you don't affect your business. So preserving knowledge with technical writing will help like new people, maybe okay, I'm a new developer, I've learned about XSL, XML, HTTP request, but I've never used it in my apps. Like, I learn new things, so I've never used it or done anything regarding that implements XML, HTTP, and I can't even find like useful materials to do that because YouTube and every other person are uploading new things. But when you document the process of your company, of your tool, of your website, of your app, people that don't know about XML, HTTP, when they see it in your code, they can just go to the documentation and read, okay, this is how HTML, HTTP works. And if you need to work on that part of the code base, just come here and read this so you can do whatever you need to do without breaking or deleting anything that you don't have to delete for you to work. So preserve knowledge by documenting things, and because they're just there, you're not feeding it, you can just update documentation. You're not feeding it or doing anything else. Just leave it there, update it when you have to, and just leave it for new people to come. Okay, oh, I don't know how to use this particular tool or this old library that is in the code base. Okay, go to documentation and just read about how you can do that without breaking things. So yeah, knowledge preservation is a key benefit of technical writing. So project management. This goes back to the building new products and collaboration. So when you have documentation, people can just go read and work together easily while helping teams and everyone to stay on track and meet their deadlines. So that's a very key benefit of technical writing too. So legal protection. So if you've ever read, I'm assuming you've not, but if any of you have ever read terms and conditions of the apps or any product you've used, you're going to see like some technical explanation in there to help people understand which data you are collecting, how your app works, what are you tracking, and everything. So you don't get into trouble with lawsuits and all of that. So documenting things easily can help lawyers understand that okay, you guys are collecting people's date of birth, but the government does not allow this type of apps to do that. For example, when your app is doing like anonymized therapy, and you are getting their email addresses and storing them in your databases, you can get sued for that. So you can protect yourself by having written documentation or everything that the lawyers can use to like advise you on how to work better. So legal protection. So that's a key benefit too. Customer support. Yeah, customer support is another very key benefit of technical writing because there are a lot of things that people don't need to understand when you are putting them into your customer success teams. So having the written documentation helps the customer support guys to help customers with their complaints and every other thing. Like, okay, I'm using Piggy Vest, I can't do this, I can't do that. So the customer support guy will just go to the documentation, read about that part of the document, that particular issue, and how the user can sort the issue. And if it's something that is more on the engineering side, you pass it to them like, okay, I've read the documentation, but it's still not enough to solve the problem. So just take it from there and help the customer. So it helps customer support to address inquiries more efficiently with when they have accurate and up-to-date information to troubleshoot issues. So yeah, customer support. Scalability. So scalability means as your product, project, business grows, technical documentation and technical writing helps you manage the complexity because it has to be maintainable and extensible in the sense that once you improve something or extend a particular product to have more features, developers, designers, and everyone can just go to the documentation to understand how the new features, the new database you are using and everything, how it works and how they can work on them without breaking anything. So once your project grows, documentation and writing about a lot of things comes in handy because you can just give it to people that okay, before you work on this, please read this part of the documentation to understand what and what you can touch and what you cannot touch. So these are like 15 benefits of technical writing that are very, very key to building good products when working with engineers, developers, and designers. So next, I believe that is all. In summary, technical writing, especially in software engineering has numerous benefits that range from improving communication, collaboration, and enhancing the overall quality of software and, and its documentation. So technical writing helps a lot in this aspect, so you can build easily and manage your products, apps, and websites efficiently as your product grows successful and sustainable over time. So I think that was fast. I think that will be all. So this is time for questions. If you have any question, I hope everyone can hear me. Okay, Victoria, please. Victoria, you can unmute yourself and
All right. Hi. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Good afternoon, Victoria.
Yeah, so you talked about you mentioned something about data protection regarding the terms and condition when someone gets a software and needs to accept that.
Yeah,
So, but the data gotten,
yeah,
isn't it anonymized? I'm sure that's a hash data. But then do we still need to kind of do they still need to give consent to these software developers for such data?
yeah. So the anonymized data is actually just an example. But for example, most countries have their guidelines when for like all apps, right? But you can have like your database, users, emails, passwords, and everything in your database just there for anyone on the team to access. And this is very, very bad because when people go to your terms and conditions to read and they see that, okay, these are the things we store your email addresses, phone numbers, and everything. They are going to have questions like, what's going on? Why are you saving these things? But before the user can read and see those things, your legal team can go through the documentation of like, okay, these are the things we are storing. Then the lawyer goes through it and points out that, okay, you can't store this. You have to hash it or remove it from the database because people cannot know your customers, like maybe, therapists, they have to like secure their clients' information and all of that. So that is the reason for the legal protection. Because if the lawyer does not know that you're storing it, that means they don't have access to like proper documentation or anything to know what you're storing or what you're not storing. And people later know that, okay, you're storing their email addresses, you can get sued. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm taking questions regarding like everything I've said. So please ask questions.
Let me ask you, since
Hello, good
nobody's
afternoon.
asking.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. That's
Yeah,
Adewale, right?
yes.
Okay.
I joined late, so I put a question on the chat box, and I think, and also there are some questions on the chat box. So you
Okay.
can also check the chat box so we can also get answers to the
Wow.
question.
So sorry. I didn't check
Okay, so
that
all
box.
right. So why checking, sir? I would just like to, because I didn't join early, so I've missed. And I asked that, are we getting the slides?
Yeah, if you want them, I'll
Yeah.
share that with you.
uh, All right, we would need it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay.
So are we getting it on well, are we getting it like, is it on the Zoom now or on the
I'm
Teams
going to
now?
paste the link to the slides on the team. I just have to like touch on the permissions and everything.
Okay, because I've missed.
Okay,
I
that's no
joined late.
problem. You're welcome.
All right, sir. And
Okay.
also, please, how about the attendance? My data is almost exhausted, so I can feed the attendance.
The attendance. I think it's stored on the
Yes,
meeting.
I didn't see it, so I didn't see the attendance.
Okay, you can just drop me a message if you want to exit the class now. So
Okay, because my data is almost exhausted, so I won't miss out.
no
So it
problem.
won't be as if I was not in attendance. All right. So maybe I'll shout you up on Teams
Yes,
or
yes, yes. Please do that.
all right.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay.
So Blessing Aigbo, I'm not sure if she's still here, but she said, "Can you explain what Vue is all about?" Hmm. Vue is a JavaScript framework that you can use to build apps easily. So basically, JavaScript is a programming language that helps you build things, but building things with just JavaScript is a lot. It increases complexity in the sense that you have to write a lot of things by yourself. So, and everything you write, you have to keep track of in case of any errors or issues you run into later in your app, so you can know where to correct things and everything. So there are tools like React, Vue.js, and other JavaScript frameworks. There are thousands of them. So you can just use any of them to do things much easier, right? So that's what Vue is all about. And you can just go to the documentation to read about everything Vue has to offer and how you can use it. I really, really recommend you check it out if you're into JavaScript. So you can just like use it to build faster. So Okoro and Ontin, let me take up your question before I move on with the questions in the chat box. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for the introduction.
You're welcome.
I want to inquire, you talked about scalability.
Yes.
I used to think that the technical writing role, especially when you are not actively involved in an organization, it could be a one-off duty such that I can do a technical writing and that will be all. But talking about scalability, that means if a business is expanding or an organization is growing, I would really need to be around to help manage the complexity of the growing business by more like updating the technical writing I've already done in the past? Or is it that a technical writing can be improved upon by another technical writer? Or would it be my sole responsibility to continue to develop on a technical writing I already did in the past?
Okay. Yeah. So to answer that question, I think I have to explain the concept of style guides. So there are style guides that you can use so that any other technical writer that comes on the team can understand what you've done, right? They can understand what you've done and improve it anywhere that's needed, because technical writer is never a one-off thing. Even tutorials, articles, they are never a one-off thing because things change and things improve. So once anything changes, you have to like update that part. So because if someone is trying to run your code using the tutorial you've written and they keep getting this error, that means there's a part of your article or tutorial that is not updated and they're having issue with that. For example, if you built your app and you explained it with Node.js 14, and Node.js is like version 18 point something now. So there are some things used that you used in the tutorial that are no longer in maintenance, or even Node.js has removed it completely and your article is not updated. There's no way for the person to know. So they are just stuck with the old article you've written. So style guides help you to like follow a certain pattern of writing. So a new technical writer can just pick the style guide and understand, okay, this is why you wrote this thing like this. Let me run this article again. Anywhere I find errors, I'm going to update it with the current version of the product, the programming language, the programming framework, or anything. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Read on, please. ask your question. I'm going to get to the questions in the chat box, but I can't just ignore people raising their hands. So sorry about that. So read one, please.
And thank you very much for the introduction.
You are not
Um,
audible. Can you speak clearly?
Okay. Please, will the track be based on just programming language?
I can hear you, but it's not clear. I
It's
can
not
hear
clear.
you, but it's not clear.
I
Yes.
said, will the track, will this whole like track be based on just programming language?
I am so sorry. Can you please drop your question in the chat box, because I can barely hear what you are saying, but it's loud, but I cannot just
Problem.
put them together. Please drop it. So you're having the slides, Adewale, yes. Okay, I've answered that. Destiny Unwebe, I used to hear you asked that with all of this, do you necessarily need coding experience or some of software knowledge to do technical writing? This is a very common question that I would even answer without anyone asking it. So these are the common question I get, like, do I need to know to do technical writing? Do I need to know coding? Do I need to? So first things first, before you can explain something clearly, you need to understand it to an extent. And understanding it means you have hands-on experience. Like, if you've never built a Node.js app, you cannot write about building a Node.js app. If you've never written about Fetch API, you can never be able to like write something about Fetch API. So you need to know what you're writing about. You don't necessarily need to know how to build applications or anything, but you need to like understand. Even if you don't build anything, just understand that, okay, I've gone to the Node. I want to write on Fetch API. So where is the official documentation for Fetch API? So you read it, you understand why and how Fetch API works the way it does. Right? So you can now simplify that for your audience or your software engineering team. So new developers can know that, okay, this is why we are using Fetch API, because it provides us this and that. Right? So you don't necessarily need to do it to know how to code, but you need to understand what you're doing. So you don't just write things that people cannot use, because that's the um main thing you are trying to do when you write. You are trying to teach people, and if they can't use your article, it's just useless. Article, I mean documentation, tutorial, and everything, because if you are not helping them achieve something, you are not doing anything for them. So, and before you can help them achieve anything, you have to like understand what you're helping them to achieve. So Destiny will be, I believe, does that answer your question? You can let me know in the chat box if you can't speak now. So Victor said, do you need to have writing skills for this? So you don't, this is what we are doing, this track. So let me just say this. By the end of this bootcamp, you will have written 2 full articles that you're going to publish on your blog online, basically. So you're going to like create a blog and publish 2 articles. The first one, I'm going to like be with you step by step of the process, researching, outlining, drafting it, editing it. I'll review each and everyone's article, right? So you are going to learn how to write in this bootcamp. So we are going to know more about types of technical writing, formats, documentations, articles, tutorials, when you should use tutorials instead of articles, when you should use an FAQ instead of documentation, API references, like all those formats. You are going to understand them, and you are going to actually write 2 articles, one for the bootcamp and the other one for the project. So the first one we are going to do it together. I'm going to review each and everyone's article. I'm going to edit for you, and we are just going to go through that together, so you know you have hands-on experience of how to write. So we are going to be learning like everything you need to get to that point. So does that answer your question, Victor? Is Victoria still here? Okay. Yes, it does. Thanks. You're welcome. Will the track Redo and Adene, will the track be based on just programming language? No, it won't be based on just a particular programming language. But what I think you are saying is, will it be based on software engineering? I want to believe that's what you are trying to say. So to answer that, no, it will not be based on a particular programming language. Anything you do now, Go, Python, JavaScript, PHP, any programming language you are using now, you can use it, right? Because what I'm going to be teaching is trying to help you understand the fundamentals, what you need to focus on when writing, and just like benefits, what you need to focus on, why you should use tutorials instead of documentation, what a tutorial helps you achieve, what an article helps you achieve, what a blog post helps you achieve. Like those are the things I'm teaching. I'm not teaching you how to write based on a particular programming language. But one thing I believe is that I write three programming languages. I write PHP, JavaScript, and Golang. Yeah. So any programming language you're working in, I believe I can help you write based on that. So that's for the first question. And you said, what is the difference between content writers and technical writers? So content writers write things that are known already, but just for the sake of like, because products, content writers write on products most times, or stories, basically things that are not very complex, that you can understand even without the written content of that particular content writer. Like for example, um, Zikoko. If you know Zikoko or Tekaba, let me use Tekaba because Tekaba writes about startups, their raises, fundings, and like in general, startups in general. So a content writer will work with Bikaba or Tekaba. Bikaba owns Tekaba and Zikoko and all of them. So Tekaba will recruit content writers who can just research on a particular thing with news, other articles, and everything to write tech about article on that particular thing. Because, for example, when they write about laser pays raise or a stack raise or a startup's raise, they get it from the news and the information the startup puts out. So they are not necessarily complex things, right? So I believe that's what differentiates content writers from technical writer, because technical writing is especially like helping people achieve things that you need, that are not common knowledge, like I mentioned before. They are not common knowledge. You can't get them from like news. Like you can't know how to build a Flutterwave a Flutterwave integration into an app with just news or going on blogs or any of that. You have to like go to the Flutterwave documentation to learn that particular thing. So it's all technical writing is basically explaining not so common things for people that need to like solve a problem or something like that. So and I believe much of content writing is based on like novels, um stories, and all of that. But I also did content writing when I worked as immigration consultant, because I write about, okay, do you want to understand how your baggage works, or how you can claim more baggage, how you can pay for more baggage, if you have more, like how to locate your airports, ticketing area and all of that. So they are not complex knowledge. You can just call the airline and ask them, okay, where's your ticketing area in the airport? They tell you. So it's not very, very technical thing. So I write about visa processes when I worked as an immigration consultant. So they are not complex. You can know them without even reading them. So I think that's like the difference. But if you're a content writer, it's very, very easy to like explain complex stuff. You just have to learn about that particular complex thing to be able to explain it. So Rido and Adini, I believe that answers your question. Okay, you understand now. Thanks. You're welcome. So are we going to be taught some coding languages in this training? No, not in this training. Though I believe Product Hub Africa has other trainings that does that. So we are not going to be teaching coding languages. We are just going to be helping you write based on what you know about those coding languages and how to like explain and articulate your thoughts better to break down the complex things. And complex thing can go from very, very basic stuff like explaining what if else statement is, or variables or anything, to like data structures and algorithms and all those things. So we're not going to be teaching coding languages. We're just going to be like learning how to write and explain technical concepts to people that need them, and how you can use it to like help companies improve their documentation, document their products from scratch and other stuff. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. We'll not be learning anything about coding languages. You can Adisua, do you have any experience coding, or are you like a beginner or something?
No, I don't have any experience.
So what are you trying to achieve by joining this training?
From the little I read about technical writing, I didn't think there was anything about coding in it. I guess that was why one of the reasons why I wanted to go into technical writing. But from what you're saying, I'm supposed to have a prior knowledge about coding.
Yes. No, 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 not necessarily about coding, about anything you want
Okay.
to write about, because technical writing goes way beyond coding. You can explain like decisions behind design processes, like, okay, why is this button round instead of box?
Okay.
You get, so you can explain anything, doesn't have to be coding. So if you are working, are you like learning now, or like,
Honestly,
are you a student or
no, I'm a lecturer.
you're a lecturer? So what do you
Yeah.
teach? Sorry to ask.
Mathematics.
Yeah,
Mathematics.
mathematics. Okay. So back to my like previous answer, you need to like know about what you are writing about, because even though I write about programming languages generally, I I get like offers to write about blockchain. I literally have a course on introduction to blockchain, and all I had to do was just learn about blockchain for like 100 excruciating hours straight to be able to deliver. So I tried to like understand everything about blockchain, then I explain them in simple and clear language to be able to like do the gig. So you don't necessarily have to have any experience with anything, but you can start with, because um let me just say this, you are going to deal with it later in the training, but you need to like have public works to be able to like get gigs. People need to see what you've done. So I think a good way to start is maybe you just find anything in tech that you're interested in and learn about it and explain what you learn in like a blog post or anything. So you can have like your works that people can go through to know that okay, this person knows their work. Because that's like the key to getting gigs in tech. People want to know that you can do it before they even give you any chance. So and a way to do that is maybe learn about one programming language, even if it's how to write hello world you built, the step-by-step process that led you to that hello world, you can write about it. Because my first technical article was on about Laravel. So what I was doing was I was trying to like use icons in my Laravel project, and I found this very, very good um, library that helps you get like thousands of icons into your project. But I battled with it for like 10 hours straight before I could like know what I needed to touch on in my project before I can use that library, because I installed it and nothing was working. So I went all around and all around to like step-by-step process, the lines of code I need to add to my project and everything. And when I finished, I was like, let me just write about this thing because I've been thinking about technical writing. But that's actually just my first published article. My first draft, I still have the draft to today in my drafts, but it was just how to create a Laravel project. Basically, how to just install Laravel and create a new project and display the new project. That was all. But I didn't publish it for some reason. Well, probably because I thought it was way too simple. But that was like my first article. But the one I first published was like something like that, because in the icons article, I created a new Laravel project and I added uh, the library and I displayed the icons to show that okay, this is working. Add this here, install this library, how to install it, do this, do that, do that. Then I think the article has like over 6,000 reads now, and it was my first article that was on first page of Google, because there was literally no documentation for the icon stuff. Like for you to be able to use the icons in your project, there is no documentation for it. The library was just there, had like thousands of icons, and there was no way to like use it, because you install it, you don't know what to touch. You have to like go deep into the Laravel folders to get the files and like the things you need to configure to use it. So as simple as that, anything you like, just write about it. I think that answers your question. Adesua,
Yes. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. So I need more questions, please. So this thing can be like enough for people that are going to watch the recording. So anything you want to ask, no matter how simple, just ask. I'll answer. So Chukwebuka Roizi, you asked, what do you have to say about the job demand for technical writers? What I have to say about this job demand for technical writers is that once you know your stuff, you are going to get gigs. You can take my word for it. Once you know your stuff, you are going to get gigs. But to do that as an entry level technical writer, you have to have your works out there. You have to like write free articles that no one is going to pay you for. You're just going to write them and write and write and write. And whenever you apply, you can just give them the links to your previous works and show them. And the demand is actually still very much there. Trust me, it is there because new products, new things, like growing products, and even most products and projects, people don't hire technical writers for them. So when they grow, they definitely need someone to write about the project, whether documentation, external documentation, or internal documentation. So the demand is there. And with the whole AI thing, AI cannot like do everything for you. You still need people to write about it. And technical writers are not using AI a lot like that. You can just use it to like get things you need to understand, but you cannot use AI too much because AI is usually very vague. I won't say it's vague, but usually it is very, very vague in its explanations or answers for you. So you still need people to like explain it properly. So the whole AI thing about technical writing is to just supplement your writing, like help you get started easily, generate ideas on how to explain things. And you just have to do it and write whatever you want to write. So I believe the job demand is still there, but you just need to like go like extra mile by writing free articles, knowing more about like SEO to be able to work with not so complex subjects and all of that. So yeah, I still got like an offer on LinkedIn 2 weeks ago or something. So, and this was despite the fact that I had like 6 or 5 companies that I still write for currently. So the demand is there. You just need to like put yourself out there, write and write and write. And you're going to get those opportunities. So yep. So that was the last question. Now, Chukwebuka, I hope that answered your question. So please, if I missed your question, please you can ask again or raise your hand. You're welcome, Chukwebuka. I'm glad I was able to answer that. So I think the assisting people here. So let's just like get to know each other more. So I have some questions for you guys. Victoria, like what do you do currently? Like your experience, are you learning design, code? Tell us about yourself, like more about you. Is Victoria still here? Yes, if you want to. If you don't want to, just let me know. It's just like a little get to know each other because we're very few here and there's still time. I still have time to spend with you guys. So
All right.
Hello. Okay.
Okay, so Victoria speaking here now.
all right. Just go ahead.
I am a kids coding educator. Okay, I teach kids how to code. And I have a background in computer science. So I kind of have an idea of coding. And I was looking to exploring the technical writing part, and that's why I signed up for this. But I don't think I got your answer regarding which of the languages one needs to learn to be able to do this, or you just need to have general knowledge about coding.
Okay, great. I think that's a very cool job because you get to like know about kids and probably play with them. You're already teaching, you're already doing like the major thing you are going to do with technical writing, you're already teaching. So regarding the coding language, like what I said earlier, you just have to know about what you want to teach. For example, if you want to write building an app in Node.js, you have to already know about building an app in Node.js or how to build an app in Node.js. You have to already know that. before you can explain it. Because if you don't know and you write, it will not be very, very useful. And the whole point of technical writing is to make like create useful articles, blogs that helps people achieve things. So if you want to like write anything, you just need to understand what you're doing. Then you write. That's all. You can write about
Sorry,
yeah,
build an app with what? I didn't hear that part. You said IGS or what?
Node.js. Node.
Okay, Node.js. Okay.
Yeah, Node.js. Yes. So just know what you want to do and you write. That's all there is to it. You can use Python, Golang, PHP, anything, even basic, all those old languages, anything you want to use, just understand that, okay, I can explain this thing clearly, then do that. That's all there is to it. Have you written anything like a technical
Oh yeah,
article?
so no, with technical writing, no, but can it also be said that I develop curriculums, okay, for the coding lessons I deliver? Is that technical writing?
Yes, that's the technical writing. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's great. Nice to get to know you, Victoria. Thanks for that.
All right,
Anyone
thank
else
you too.
want to? You're welcome. Anyone else wants to tell us more about themselves, your experience? Chukwebuka, you look like
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. My name is Destiny. Um, I'm I'm a newbie in tech. Like I have not really gotten like much experience, but I'm looking to transition into product management, and so that's where I'm coming from. That's the knowledge that I have, and I joined this because I just really wanted to know about it, and I felt like I like writing. I do copywriting, content writing. I'm also learning script writing in between learning technical writing. So writing is just something that I don't know, something I know how to do. So I'm like, okay, let's see if it's something that I would. So I just really wanted to explore it, and that's why I'm here. But now that I'm here, I'm beginning to think, oh, should I have known about coding? Should I have known about software development? So, well, that's it for me. Thank you.
Welcome. You're the one that dropped the latest message on the chat box too, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
great. So you already do a lot of writing, script writing, content writing, and all of that. So that's great. That's beautiful. But like I said, it's still the same answer. You need to like know what you want to write about. For example, if you want to go into product management, right? To technical writing can help you get a job with a product management job or even a technical writing job if you like explain how you would do things. Okay, you just learned about I don't know much about it, but Agile, Scrum, and you maybe have an idea on how you can it can be better or how you would implement it or anything like that. So you can just write about your experience. Okay, to help the team build products faster. These are so and so things that you can do on your team. Like just put yourself out there, write about what you learn about, and from there you just get a message from people that okay, you are trying to recruit a product manager and you look like you know your thing. I actually believe that anyone doing anything regarding tech or creating should write. And it's technical writing if you are basically explaining the complex stuff you get to learn about in your work to people. When you get to explain that to people, you are already doing technical writing. So yeah, I believe technical writing has a space in every occupation. So just explain what you know, how you go about things, and you are good to go. So like you said, you are learning projects or product management. You can write about the tools, how you would use them, how companies should use them. you can research about how companies already use them. Then maybe like write about that to teach like upcoming or new product managers, and just chip in some advice about how you would do it, how it's currently done, and all of that. So definitely continue the training and just learn how to explain things, because all we are doing in this training is like teaching you how to like present those technical concepts or those complex topics in formats and ways that people are going to learn about it easy. So we are going to learn about style guides, the common ones, the one Google use, Microsoft, and how you can implement them in your technical writing. So you write like familiar right you have like a familiar writing style. Like if I'm already reading Vue.js documentation, if you go to React documentation, there are some similarity in the writing style that you just know that okay, this is a technical um content, and they are following like a proper way. For example, a very common thing is when you're writing and you introduce like a new concept, you need to explain that concept before continuing or before even using it, so that people that are reading can understand that okay, this is what this person means going forward. That's a very key thing that is still usually missing in technical writing content, because people like engineers especially, that's why a good engineer is an engineer that knows how to write. But most people don't know how, because when you know about all these things, and you write, you just assume that everyone knows what authorization means, everyone knows what authentication means. So you just like write. That's why not everyone can be a technical writer, because you have to be patient and have your reader in mind at all time. So whenever you're writing, you explain every concept. So those are the things you are going to be learning in this training. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I hope some of the things I said will be helpful to you. So you're welcome, Destiny. So Chukwuebuka, would you mind like telling us more about yourself, your experience, or something similar to what others have been doing?
Yeah, okay. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Clear and loud.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I transitioned to tech earlier this year. I enrolled in a DevOps bootcamp. So currently I intern a startup as a DevOps engineer. So my reason for joining this program is to actually get to hone uh, my writing skills, so I'll be able to like put out maybe content relating to DevOps engineering, tools and stuff. I actually transitioned from banking in this. So I was fascinated by tech, so felt it's where I would feel very comfortable to be able to like express myself, build stuff, and a lot more. So far. So I just hope technical writing will be fascinating as well for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Chukwuebuka. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing that with us, Chukwuebuka. So you're also learning about DevOps. That's beautiful. So what you can do is, it's very amazing that you also enrolled for this class, because it will help you put yourself out there more, because everything you are learning about DevOps, you can just like explain them in a very simple and understandable way and publish it, so potential employers and new DevOps engineer can learn from you too. So I believe that's beautiful. And being a banker or having worked as a banker explains your outfit. It's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Ridwan Adeni, if you are still here, can you like do the same? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. I'm still a student
Okay.
studying industrial.
Okay,
Yes, so,
nice.
and the idea of practicing science has always interested me. So, and I'm also a tech enthusiast, although a newbie. Uh, in technical writing, since it has wide application. And I'm also learning design, and I'm currently on graphic design. I'm currently on IT training, right? So that's
All right, great. Thank you, Redwan, for sharing that with us. So you are studying industrial engineering and you are a tech enthusiast. That's beautiful. That's nice. So you can do technical writing. Everyone can do technical writing. So it's beautiful, and you can even start your technical writing journey with writing about industrial engineering. Okay, industrial chemistry. I thought you said engineering, industrial chemistry. That's beautiful. So you can write about it or write about design tools, how you would implement something, create a design, just explain complex things that you know that okay, people don't really know this, or some of the things you've read about it are not like capturing the information that they're supposed to be um passing to people properly. You can just write yours to help others. So I think that's beautiful. That's nice. And being a tech enthusiast, and that means you enjoy learning about tech. You can take on understanding technical concepts and just try to explain that. You don't necessarily have to know coding or be a software engineer or anything. Even if it's WordPress you work with, explain things that you think there are very few people that explain it properly. Just do that and you'll be fine. For example, I work with few technical writing, uh, few company blogs, right? And when I am pitching articles, I research on the article and I do more of articles that are not very common, like very, very complex things, which is why I'm assuming that's why I've never gotten a rejection whenever I pitch an article, because it is usually like something very rare. For example, type hinting in PHP, how to use types in PHP was like some of the first articles that I proposed, and it was approved like almost the same day because and the article is now on the first page of Google because there are very, very few articles that are covering such topics in PHP or even any other language. So you can write about those things that are like complex and people don't teach in tutorials or anything. Because I've watched quite a number of PHP tutorials and none of them covered the typing thing. So I felt like, okay, how can I do this? And I figured it out and I wrote about I pitched it, it was accepted and I wrote about it. So deep topics like detailed articles about complex things are like very, very in demand content. So you can just start with that. Write about things that you don't think a lot of people know or a lot of the people understand that well. Understand it and explain it in clear terms. I'm good to go. So Ridwan Adeni, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So Adewale, okay, no problem. Thanks for attending the class. Okay. You're welcome, Ridwan. So who else? Who else is hiding? Let me just say the truth about this. About this attendance thing. I didn't know you guys were supposed to mark attendance, but confidence you can. This class is being recorded, or you can drop me a message and I'll let the organizers know when I get more information about the attendance. So you can leave. Thank you very much for attending. Yeah. Adesuwa. Is Adesuwa and Odige Adesuwa the same person?
No, I am Adesua Gabriel. Okay, my full name is Janet Adesua Gabriel. Probably I'll just write that down. So we'll not be confusing the two Adesuas.
Do you have a profile picture?
No, not yet, but I'll put it.
Did you just send no in the chat box?
No, it's Adesua Odigi that sent that.
Okay. So Adesuwa Odige as a profile picture. So Adesuwa, Janet, you've not told us about yourself. Would you like to do
I
that?
was going to ask the question earlier.
Yeah,
You
this one is not like question. Like, tell us about yourself. What do you do now? Your experience.
Okay. I actually don't have any prior knowledge on coding or anything. Currently, I'm a lecturer of mathematics and I bake cakes too. I just want to transition into tech, and I thought technical writing would be fair because I've been running away from coding, but it seems I have to do more on it now.
Why is everyone
That's
running from coding?
I ran and I came to the one that is even worse because I have to learn like almost everything now, not just a particular one.
No. You don't need to learn everything, but
Mhm.
to do, because even when you see technical writing job descriptions, they just tell you to have like be able to read code, read the job requirements that are written by proper companies that know what they want. They just put be able to read and understand code. That's it. So that requires like the very, very basics for everyone that does not have knowledge about coding per se. I have a series on how to get started with Golang. So Golang is like a very, very straightforward and simple to understand language developed by Google, obviously. So that's why the name Go. So you can just get started with that to understand like very, very basic things about programming. So you don't need to like scour the entire internet trying to learn. Just go through the series. It's a series of 6 articles currently. I'm planning to add more. So I just dropped the link. You can find the link on the the I'm not trying to send a direct message. I'm trying to send to everyone in the meeting. Okay. Sorry, Okoro, for the for the intrusion. So I just sent the link now. So you can just go through it to understand the very, very basic concepts of programming. So I believe I talked about, let me see. So I believe I talked about introduction, variables, data types, operators, like very, very basic things you need to like know when you are getting started with programming. So you just know that, okay, you can read code. These are the things, because these are the things that you come across in all programming languages. But the reason why I did this series was because I was trying to learn Go for the longest time, and I could not like find the proper motivation. So I just felt like, oh, let me create a series on this, and I'll just use that to hold myself accountable to like continue learning and learn it deeply to the extent that I can explain it to other people. And that's another benefit of technical writing. You can learn things and just to retain it properly, write about it. Because when writing about things, you are going to know that you don't know half of the things you thought you knew. So you need to like go back to learn and like, because you can know something in your head, and when it gets to the writing process, you feel like, this is not clear enough. I'm not like, the reader cannot like know what to do from what I just wrote. So you just have to go deeper to like understand. Or if you're writing about building an app or anything, there are some things that you've done that you didn't think it was necessary. And what I do personally is when I'm writing on how to create anything, I create it first, I test it, everything is working, then I create a new project, then I write while I am working on the article. I write and I work on the project. Like for example, if I'm creating a Laravel API, while writing, I'm also working simultaneously on the new API. So that will make it easier for me to like write the things I missed. There are some things that just work because okay, I already know these things. I'm just running commands and everything. Then you get to that point and you be like, oh, if I don't run this command, this thing will not actually work. Oh. Then you go back to like explain that okay, before you can do this, you need to run this command. So nothing works automatically. So you just have to like write about it and learn at the same time. So you can include a lot of things that you would have missed. So you can go through the series to like learn the fundamentals of programming, if else, variables, types, and if else, loops, functions, return values, packages, and like deeper things like data structures, structs, and pointers. So if you know this, believe me, you can read any code. So once you know these things, you can read any code you come across, and that's just what you need to write. I hope that answers your question, Adesua. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you so much too.
Yeah, coding is hard and stressful. Coding is
For
hard.
you, but not for you. It's stressful. Oh.
Yeah, everyone
Okay.
said that coding is hard and stressful. That's true, but it's also very fun. It can be fun too. So feel free not to learn how to code. It's not for everyone, but if you enjoy it, definitely add technical writing and just roll with it. But technical writing, you don't necessarily have to know how to code. In fact, if you go through requirements for technical writing at Google, they won't put it there. They just require you to learn how to know how to read and understand code, because you won't be writing a lot of code. Even for the fact that I have like a lot of technical writing gigs that I work on freelance, I don't get the time to like code. That was why when I got to like finish my portfolio on Friday, or was it on Saturday, I was so happy because it's been a while since I worked on something that I'm just building and I'm not writing about. So you don't get to write a lot of code. You just write the bare minimum to help people understand what you're trying to do. That's all. I have been calling the names of people that have sent a message. So if you've not sent any message, you can also tell us about yourself by just unmuting yourself and talk. Please, I appreciate that. Melissa, is Melissa still here?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
here.
Yeah, thanks.
Melissa.
Please go ahead. Tell us about yourself,
Oh,
your experience, and everything.
okay. This is Melissa. I'm an optometrist. That's an eye doctor,
Oh, great.
and I'm also a project manager, public health project manager. Yeah. Um. So the reason why I decided to learn technical writing is because I'm very good with writing, and I just felt technical writing will maybe help me, should I say, accentuate my maybe documentations, presentations, like maybe if I have a presentation session, because I've seen some things on Google on when I searched on technical writing, and I saw diagramming. It involves like another things. So I also feel like maybe it can even be a side job for me. Then I also feel it can help me in my research journey. Yes, because right now I don't know where life will take me. If I'll end up being a researcher, or I'll continue my project management career, or maybe technical writing can even be a side job for me to fetch me money, especially since I'm good in writing. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. So, being a researcher, you definitely have to know how to explain complex subjects. So
Yeah.
that's very good.
Yeah, because I'm presently doing my master's. So maybe I just feel it would be a plus for me if I decide to advance to a PhD.
Yes,
Yeah.
because if you don't enjoy writing or don't know how to explain things, I believe trying to write like a research paper will be hell.
Yeah.
Sorry to use that word, but it's just what it's going to be. It will be very, very hard. Well, yes, technical writing can definitely be beyond a side job. So I've been working remotely for almost a year now, and that's basically what I've been doing. Technical writing, writing for like all sort of industries. I even do some content writing too for like data analytics, explaining concepts and all of that. So because the name of the company is actually Codeless, Codeless, Codeless. So that's usually that I'm not even writing anything coding for them, but the subjects are still like really technical, that they need people that have technical writing experience. So you can have a bunch of freelance jobs or even in-house jobs, because the the Flutter documentation I showed you earlier, they have like full-time technical writers that work on those. They document new products, they update existing products, documentation, and all sorts of things. So Paystack, basically every technical engineering company, startups, even big companies like Google. Google recruits technical writers every year. They always have openings. So you can go beyond, like, if you enjoy explaining things, complex things to people, you can definitely do technical writing full time. I've gotten offers from Carbon. If some of you know Carbon, they do loans. I've tried to use them once. They do loan, like pay small, all the stuff. And they reached out to me for a technical writing gig. So definitely companies always need technical writers, because not all engineers are good writers, because you just feel like, oh, I'm writing about this thing. You should know what variables are. You should know what this configuration means. So, but technical writers are calm and they try to like explain everything in a way that, because they understand that they have to be clear, they have to be consistent with what they talked about and explain new concepts and all those nuances. So not all engineers can do that. So yes, it can be a full-time job for you if you really have a knack for explaining things. So yeah. So Mutiat Adepoju, where have you been hiding? I have not seen you, so if you like to do that, please tell us about yourself.
Thank you. I've been learning how to code for like, let's say, 7 months now. I'm currently learning how to use React, and I finished 2 bootcamp on technical writing. I just feel like I need to learn more before I start applying. Thank you.
Great. So finally, someone that's not scared of coding. So yeah, that's really beautiful. I'm actually glad there's someone that is not scared of coding. Yeah. So you people that are scared of coding should like get rid of that fear one way or another. Just take that risk. So learning React, have you published anything yet? Because if you've not, what have you been doing?
Not yet. I'm trying to. I just finished Tailwind, so I want to like write on Tailwind, and finding it hard to write on dev.to because someone actually advised me to publish on dev.to, but it's stressful. I'm using Ashley. So when I'm done with Tailwind CSS, I'm definitely going to write on React.
Great, that's beautiful. You can, I'm sure, because personally I don't like React. It's like it's not very easy to understand for me. But so I believe you should have some things that were hard for you to understand when you like during your React journey. So you can just pick like 2, 3 concepts that were initially hard for you to understand, and you're now familiar with them. And that was even how I was able to get into Content Lab, because they asked me to like send some topics to them, and I just went on my tech groups and I told them any any concept about JavaScript, or yes, about JavaScript that you found difficult to understand, but you now understand, or even if you still don't understand it, just tell me. So I picked like 5 of what I got and I sent it to them. They sent one of them back to me to write on, and I wrote about it and I got it. So yeah, that would be like a very good way to just get started. Even if it's just one paragraph or 2 paragraphs about each concept, you can do that. But if you're not ready for that, totally fine. We are going to like write at least 2 articles together. So if you are writing anyone, or you decide to follow what I just said and you are writing, feel free to like send me a message along the way. I'll help you review, edit, and all this stuff. Yeah, but if you're not ready for that, fine. Once you get there, you are going to pick a topic, but that will be much in depth. You're going to pick a topic, you research about it, learn more, write, I'll edit, I'll read your drafts, and you publish. So the first one will be for the putting everything together week. That'll be the 5th week. Then the 6th week, you are going to write another article on your own to show that you now understand like everything we've taught in this training. So thank you very much, Mutiat. I almost missed you. So I believe everyone has done that.
Okay, let
Yeah,
me introduce
please.
myself.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wanted to ask. I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr.
Yes, Melissa, please go ahead. Let's just clear yours before Mr. Okoro would tell us about himself. Melissa, please go ahead. Hello, Melissa.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I believe others can too. Hello, we can't hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now,
Yes, we
please?
can. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Please, what's the job demand of technical writing like?
Okay. Someone asked that earlier, but yeah, I'll explain again. There's still like proper demand for technical writers because all companies have to like explain their products, their projects, their business model, and everything to like their users. So you don't just use Flutterwave because it's Flutterwave. You need to understand what they can help you achieve in your business, in your project, or anything like that. So yeah, there's still like proper demand for technical writers.
Okay, so you saying there's still like proper demand. Do you mean like, for example, I know developers right now, they are finding it difficult in the job market. So I don't know how to explain now. Like, do technical writers like do they find it easy to get jobs?
Definitely not easy. I won't say
Like in relation, like if I want to relate it with developers, software developers.
okay, yes. So the issue with developers and getting jobs is what I like to believe is that it's closely related to the fact that most companies want people that already know their stuff. For example, if you've worked with a startup before and the startup did not launch anything, or they've not launched, or they don't launch anything, most companies are going to be skeptical. Like, you have experience, but we can't see what you've done. And you know, the economy and everything now, people don't want to like waste their resources on people. So they need like more proof, which is why the whole job demand thing is based on experience. People want companies want people that can get hit the ground running. Essentially, you can hit the ground running. You don't need too many like
The majority of what we have in Nigeria are startups.
I didn't get that.
Oh, and the majority of the companies we have in Nigeria, tech companies we have in Nigeria are
Yes,
startups.
yes, exactly. So they need someone that can like hit the ground running and start working. So they don't have the capacity to train people, to hold their hands for like few months and all of that because they have limited resources. Some of them don't have a lot of money left in the bank and all of that. So they are like just managing. So the economy is a big um um thing that's affecting that part. So for technical writers, the reason why I said it's easier when you compare it with developers is that if you look at my LinkedIn, a lot of the companies there, if not all, are freelance. So they don't hire people in-house most times. You can just get like a bunch of freelance um, gigs and you start working and you make enough. So the it's easier in the sense that they are not dedicated to like pay you every month. You have to like deliver, and that's in relation to their budget and everything. Okay, we are sending out $10,000 for technical writers. That's how many articles. So they know their budget. They know that they can pay you. That's why they included you. That okay, come and write for us. And some of them have just pitch. You have to pitch your articles. Okay, I want to write about these things. Do you guys like it? Would you like to have it on your blog? And they say, okay, yes, okay, no. So in that sense, they are not like dedicated. So a lot of people can get into technical writing, and your output is going to determine like what you get out. And another thing that people face when they want to get started with technical writing, that there's this notion that it's easier, which is why most people don't want to like go through the stress of writing a lot of free articles and all of that. Because I wrote, I believe, like 6 7 articles, in-depth articles, before I got my first technical writing gig. But most people now, they've written one or two articles and they want to like, because they people want to see like, okay, can you write in-depth articles? Can you write short articles that like perform very well? A lot of things they consider a lot of things
Concise
for,
articles.
yes, concise articles. So they want to see those things. So and most of them will just prefer not to like reply you when you apply because they are not seeing anything that they like. And I think it's a lot of work to reply applications too. So that might be part of the issue. But the key is to write, and eventually you are going to get people offering you. Because I work with Convoy now, right? And I never applied to Convoy. I just got a DM on Twitter saying, "Oh, I went through your portfolio. Would you like to contribute to our company blog?" And that was it. No interview, nothing. So if you have your work out there and people like what you do, definitely. I should add this. The What gingered me more when I started technical writing was I I was writing about Laravel. So I got to the point where I needed to like integrate the database, do something about database. Then I searched on Google for that. Then I saw an article that just tackled just that problem that I had. That thing. I was writing it as part of a larger article, but she had just that explanation that okay, how to connect your database, something like that. And that was it. Then I read the post, then under the post, a guy from a company commented that, hey, so and so, we would like to work with you. Where is the best platform to like connect with you and all of that? And I was like, wow, that's what I they do for you. Oh yeah, no. So I felt like, wow, so people can actually see you and just reach out to you. So that motivated me a little bit more. Like, okay, let's just do this. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So
Yeah,
let's just,
thank you.
you're welcome. Let's hear
So,
from,
sorry, I want to ask the last question, please. Mr. Okoro, please, I'm sorry. Are you going to teach us the business of technical writing, like maybe pricing and maybe
pricing.
sites? What
That's
did
not
you
in
say?
the, that is not part of the curriculum. But now that you asked, and I've also gotten questions from like people that ask me, how do you price your article? When they ask you for rates, how do you? I think we'll do that. We'll,
Okay,
we'll do that. Don't worry.
all
I'll
right.
I'll put it in my outline. Now. Thank you so much for
Thank
attending.
you very much.
You're welcome. It's past 5 already, and let's just hear from Mr. Okoro before moving on.
Okay, quickly, my name is Sokura Anointing, and I'm a graduate of mechanical engineering from Federal University of Technology, Owerri, but I'm an SEO content writer. I write SEO content for some blogs and websites, but I decided to transit to technical writing. Although, like some persons have talked about, I never knew I would really have to marry coding in a way, but somehow my fear has been challenged and I will really give it a shot. And I hope to really thrive in the technical writing niche. So that's all.
Okay, that's beautiful. You already write SEO content. Until this year, I've been very, very scared of SEO because I've worked with normal content before, and SEO is just like a lot. But there are tools to go around it, and I'm very glad I'm looking into
Yeah.
those now in my like new gigs, right? So that's beautiful, and I believe technical writing should be like easier for you in the sense that you already write. But if you don't have any knowledge on coding, you can use the link I sent earlier to learn like basics of a programming language.
All
Specifically,
right.
I wrote about Go, so you can just go through those. And once you understand those concepts, you can write about anything. So you just need to read the code, understand what the code is doing, and write about it, explain it, and that's all.
All right.
So
Thank you very much.
you're welcome, Mr. Koro. So there are a few people that have successfully hid from me. They've been hiding. I've not seen them, but it's 5 p.m. already, and thank you so much everyone for joining. I really appreciate. So we'll meet again on Thursday, on Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll send you the meeting link again later this week. So, but you can just, I know a lot of things I've said here. You are thinking about them, wondering. So if you have any other questions that you don't remember right now, or you check online and you see some things you don't understand, you can always drop a question on Zoom, or yes, on Zoom. You can drop a question there and I'll be happy to answer. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.